Hi, I'm Danny Worsnop. I'm 18, fresh out of high school. I'm hanging out with Rob from Front Row Live right now, and we're gonna get sticky.
It's been ages, but I'm reunited with Danny Worsnop. I can't believe that you are a country singer. Every time I listen to your music, I know, but every time I listen to it, I'm like, he's got that voice though.
It's crooning. No, I think there's a big misrepresentation of what this new album is, because the last one obviously was a country album,
Right.
and I had a lot of fun trying that out and figuring out what I enjoy, and well, just what I was capable of. But this one is it's a blues record, and there's a couple country songs on there. There's some blues songs, there's some rock songs, there's some funk songs, there's some singer-songwriter stuff, there's some stuff I don't even know what it is, and I think. Like one of my whole things that I've been talking about with this record is trying to break down the concept and insistence on genres, because I don't think they're fair on anyone. I think for the listener, it puts everything in a box, and it allows people to sit and go, "No, I don't like country. I'm not going to listen. I don't like country music." It's like, statistically, that's not true. You just haven't heard country that you've heard.
Yeah.
Also, you probably like a bunch of stuff that's country that you just don't think is country. Like, do you like Leonard Skinner?
There you go.
If going off ones and zeros, that's pretty much country music. Also, so is Johnny Cash, so is Bon Jovi and Aerosmith. So it's putting genres and stuff. It puts everything in a box and puts a label on stuff for people to decide they don't like it before even listening. And it's not fair on artists because it tells people what they're supposed to be.
Right.
Which obviously I don't pay much attention to.
Just do what you want.
Yeah.
But in doing that, in doing that, when you're actually in the writing process of creating this record, how do these sounds kind of happen? Do they happen when you're writing the music, or do they happen when you hit the studio?
This is me going back to my roots. The kind of bluesy singer-songwriter stuff I was doing for 12, 13 years before Asking ever existed.
Yeah.
So this is my opportunity to go back to the beginning.
Okay.
And I think this is where I'm going to lean. I was actually talking about it today with my producer. I stayed at his house, and we went in the studio to record some new ideas I had. And I'm leaning really heavy into what this album was, but also I was doing some other stuff too. But from here, the reception of this album was amazing, and I'm going to use that and listen to the feedback and really lean into the blues and the rock and the heavier use of guitars, and really try and create something special that's my own thing, and I can still be experimental with it, but it's just really true to myself.
Right. Now, talk to me a little bit more about working with this producer for this album. How do you feel? How do you feel he kind of like challenged you in the studio when you were creating this record? Because I feel like your debut solo record was a heavy point for you. So I feel like it was such a vulnerable record. So it was a difficult thing to put to paper. But did you feel the same way with this one? And was there a point where it was like certain songs were kind of heavy for you?
No, this one was way easier, just because I've been through that. And this one was an opportunity for me to just to kind of see where I can take it and what I can do, and which directions I can push myself and it still sound real and authentic. There was also a lot of me working with other people on this album, which was the most I've ever done, and it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. This has been the biggest learning curve for me. Not necessarily in learning to do things I couldn't do, but learning different approaches to things that I just never considered. And just opening up to different styles and different approaches and ways to go about writing a song. It also was my opportunity to really kind of dig into the guitar again. I hadn't touched a guitar in 11 years while Asking's been going. So, but that was my primary instrument before then, so it gave me a chance to get back into that.
Now, with the vocalization, as you mentioned, there's different types of sounds on this record. So, when you're trying different types of sounds, obviously it changes the way that you sing. Which sound or which style of sound do you feel like kind of challenged you the most when it came to singing?
I think I approached all the songs pretty much the same. I don't think there was necessarily anything challenging. I've spent a great deal of time honing my craft and really learning my voice and what I can do with it. And going into the studio now is less challenging, more fun, because I know how to do all of these things. And it's like, oh, this is a place I can do that. I never get to do that. So it's more that.
Right. And you did mention there was more people on this record that you kind of collaborated with. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of collaborations? Was it writing? Was it like in the studio? I heard one of the songs threw me off when I heard a female voice in there. Like, that's something that I've never heard with you before.
That's a good friend. I shouldn't have done that. I broke this
right
wrist.
there?
Yeah, I broke this wrist and I forgot about it.
Oh, man.
It hurts. Look how blue it is all over. You can already see it's too bright.
It's part of the album promo, right?
Yeah, wrist of blue. Yeah, that's Spencer Bartoletti, a good friend of mine. She's in a great band called Reverie Lane. But there was a female voice on the last record too, and a lot more of it on this. She does all my like harmonies and background vocals and stuff.
Right.
Her and an amazing lady called CC White. Yeah, within that song, it's a duet. It was actually written by a band called Steel Magnolias about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I loved the song, and I was like, I want to put that on my record. Let's cover it.
Why not?
So we did.
Now, how different is writing for your solo stuff as opposed to Asking?
Not at all.
Really? No changes in the writing style?
Nope. Well, kind of. I write songs before I record them doing solo stuff.
Doing this, okay.
I don't write before I record with Asking.
You just hit the studio and you start, okay.
First time I ever hear the song will be in the studio, and I write and record as I go, and I mean it's usually super quick.
Yeah.
But depending on the songs, depending on where my head is at in the day, we can go in at like 10 a.m. and by 7 p.m. when we leave, we might have written and recorded 5 songs.
Right.
And then the month that we have sectioned off to record the album is like, cool, we can do this in a week, which was how we did the last Asking album.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't listen to anything before I go in with Asking. And this, I've got more to think through because I'm not just writing the vocals. I'm writing the guitars,
Right.
coming up with drums and pianos and all that stuff.
You're doing it all. So when you right now you're on tour with this, like, so when you hit the stage, what's that stage show like? Are you up there with the guitar
Yes.
the whole entire time?
Whole entire time.
Nice. You're definitely taking it back.
Yeah. It's I mean it's an instrument that I love and that I had to spend a long time away from, and then was given this opportunity. And at first it was like, I have these amazing guitar players who record with me and write with me, and I'm really close with them, and I get to play with them. And then it's, do I just bring them out? Do I do it myself? Do I do a combination of it? So we have Casper, who isn't in here, Casper Jensen, who he flies around the world with me and covers the lead stuff so that I can sing and play all the rest of it.
Right.
And then we have Aaron Birdsall, who's over there taking a little nap. He's waiting for the casting couch segment of this show.
There we go.
He's 18, fresh out of high school. Never been fucked, but loves himself a wiener. But he's ready to get sticky today. Not afraid to drip dry. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. He's playing the drums, and he's our best friend. We stopped the show halfway through, and he plays some of his songs. Yeah, it's a blast, and getting to be up there and play guitar for me is a really incredible experience.
Right. Now, the first solo record dropped in 2017.
Yes.
So almost 2 years since the new one. So did it take 2 years to create this album that you're working now, or you were just basically living off of that record?
I had recorded this album before going back to Asking Alexandria.
Wow, okay.
So I've been sat on this for almost 2 years.
Wow. Do you think it would have changed your focus if you went back to Asking and then started working on this record?
No, I think it was, well, it's because I'd finished this and it was ready to release last year. And then going back to Asking, I kind of reprioritized stuff, and it was like, cool, it's more important right now to get an Asking Alexandria album out.
Right.
So that's where my focus is. That's where my attention and my that's where my business is focused at. It's like, let's get this Asking album out. Let's launch the band again. Let's grow the brand and figure out then what's next for that. And while we're figuring out the next move for Asking, I switch over. I'll push Danny Worsnop stuff, and then like a year from now, we'll switch back, and it's like, cool, it's Asking time again. Go. And then I'm going to try and do it like that. So each year, I'm releasing one.
Got it.
In an ideal world, there's absolutely no way of me controlling that, but
How do you switch your mindset like that, when, especially on the writing process? I feel like that's insane already.
zero difference. Outside of the fact that I'm writing guitars and stuff with my stuff. Lyrically and vocally, it's the exact same job. I've been writing songs every single day, whether they're for me, whether they're for Asking, whether they're for other people.
That new pop record that you're about to drop?
Yeah.
That we didn't tell them yet?
Yeah. I am actually, the newest stuff I've been writing is pretty much pop stuff with a bunch of cool guitars on them. So depending on what I'm writing, I mean, I might be writing songs for a pop singer. I might be writing something to send to a rapper somewhere in the world. And it's every day I'm writing something. So for me, the process is the same regardless. Either way, I'm telling stories and creating melodies. So it's sitting down for me, it's absolutely no difference. Usually I can tell when I start a song. There's been times where I'm sat in the studio with Asking and I start writing something and I'm like, that's probably going to be cooler if I do it by myself. So I put it to the side and just start writing again. And there's no shift. I don't work differently with one than the other. I mean, sat with Ben in the studio writing Asking albums. I still sit and I go, hey, that guitar thing would be cooler if you did that. Or like, hey, that verse is too long, cut that in half. Or do another one of that. Because that's really cool and it shouldn't only be played once. That's a badass riff. Stack it all over the place because people want to hear more of it. And then with mine, I might be with my producer and he's saying the exact same thing to me. Or I might be saying the same thing to myself where it's like by the time the song's finished, I'm like, actually, no, delete all of that because now I've got a cooler idea. Now I've heard it.
Since your mindset right now is on Asking, do you see yourself going back to Joey Sturgis for album 6, or do you see yourself going back to Matt Good, or is there a new producer now in town?
You know I'm not allowed to tell you about that.
I don't know. I figured I'd ask anyways.
No, I'm not allowed to talk about it. This is we are both too far away and too close to talk about it yet.
You're sitting too close to me? Is that what it is?
I mean, I don't have answers.
Should I push you a little?
I don't have answers to a lot of questions, and the questions I do have answers to, I can't talk about because it's too soon.
Right. No, I get that. But I am excited that you guys teamed up with Blast Pro for this summer. Yes. What does this mean for you, and like how did this opportunity kind of happen for the band?
I'm probably the last person in the band to ask that question to. What it means to me is a great deal of money. And a big marketing opportunity. I don't play video games. Okay. I don't own a video game machine. So it's for me, like, I'm sure that stuff is very cool. Yeah. But they'll tell me the games and stuff. I'm like, I've never heard of that. We're
on the same page because I don't understand what that is.
And it's cool, and I'm glad they've built this enormous community and they have all this awesome stuff. I just don't know anything about it. So when I get the call and it's like, hey, do you want to do this? I'm like, what is it? And they tell me, I'm like, okay, you just spoke a different language, so use the language I know and like tell me what it is though. And then they say numbers, and I'm like, cool, I like those numbers. See if they'll give us more numbers. And they came back and said, no, they're the numbers they're giving you. It's like, cool, well, that's fine because I like those numbers to begin with. So yes, I'll do it.
All right, to close us off, man, you're here in LA promoting the record. What else are the plans for this record in particular, your solo album? Is there more touring, or you're done with the touring?
No. I'm going to tour as much as I can. Obviously, we've got the Asking Papa Roach Bad Walls tour coming up. Right after, well, not right after that, but after that, there's the Asking Shinedown Papa Roach tour. I'd like to try and get maybe a couple weeks in over the rest of the year. I've got 2 fly-out shows, one in Wichita, one in Memphis. I don't necessarily want to do another tour just because I want to be home for some of the year. Right. I have a wedding to fucking be at. Like, as a really important
you can't miss that.
I have to show up to that one. So it's there's a lot of my time that's carved out, but the time that I do have, I'd like to book some more fly out things. So I'm just like gone for a day here and there, and then next year within Asking's tour and try and do the same thing and figure out where I can fit a tour in. Right. I want to be able to get over to Europe at some point, Australia. I'm trying to figure out right now. It's all a logistical nightmare. Yeah.
Well, the album barely dropped like a couple weeks ago, so
couple weeks.
Very excited about that.
Couple weeks. We got 2.4 million streams week 1.
Nice. Let it grow some more. Yeah. Well, dude, thanks for reuniting with me. It's been probably like 10 years since the last time I actually spoke to you.
Feels right.
So it's been a very long time, but thanks for hanging out. You guys be sure to check out Danny Worsnop. New album is out now. It's called
Shades of Blue.
Hey, thanks for watching on Front Row Live.